Hi everyone, I'm Riva, and this is Inspired After Hours. And in this video, we're going to talk about how to actually pick a passion project. So I love to talk about and connect people with their passions. And it's because it really can bring so much fulfillment and joy and warmth to your heart when you see your passion project come to fruition. And just along the way, it's so rewarding to get to see the steps really start to create the final thing. And maybe it's something that's constantly evolving, but what I love to do is help people actually pick what they want to start with and then start to take steps forward. Because that can sometimes be the hardest thing. We can get so overwhelmed with, well, what am I going to make my passion project? And for starters, I like to remind you guys, it doesn't have to be one thing and it doesn't have to stay the same thing because we can get stuck dead in the tracks if we get too hung up on, oh, what is the one thing? It's not we're not trying to say what is my life's purpose and then come up with that answer. This is meant to be fun. It's meant to be something that it's called Inspired After Hours. So it's after you're done with work, in the short amount of time that you have between family life and other personal things and whatever else is going on, what is it that you want to dedicate some of your time to that you're really passionate about making a difference in the world for, or in your world? Doesn't have to be the whole world. It could just be your environment, in your group, in your school district, in your whatever group it is that you're targeting. And keep in mind, this can be 5 minutes every day. It could be that you have an hour. It could be that you can only work on this on the weekends. Any way that you are going to have, whatever way you have the time set aside, you can make this work. So don't ever feel like, oh, but I'm a parent, or but I am a caregiver, or I have all of these things, or I work crazy hours. It doesn't matter as long as you're taking care of yourself. You can always find a way to make this work. So it's about finding tools and ways of doing this process that are going to serve you and make it easier for you to pick up where you left off if all you have is 5 minutes a day, and be able to keep going so you're not feeling like you have to start over and start from scratch again. So the first thing I tell you to do is to actually make a list. Have a notebook, have a piece of paper, maybe it's a Word document or just a note thing in your phone, and start to go, okay, I'm going to make a list of 2 things, 5 things, 10 things, 20 things, 100 things, whatever amount feels good to you, for ideas of what your passion project is going to be. Don't overwhelm yourself. If I say, 20 things and that's like, oh gosh, I don't have the time. Pick 3 things. Find 3 things that are interesting to you. Make it work for you. There is no exact way this has to be. Just because you pick 3 and someone else picks 20, you're not going to be less successful at this. It's all about what works for you. And then that will ultimately lead to your passion project coming to fruition. So when you make this list, I encourage you to put, a variety of things on there, especially if you're really not sure. A lot of people are like, I really would love to do a passion project. I don't know what to do. And I respect that. I get it. But I'm going to help you. I'm going to give you several different ways of looking at this and coming up with your list so that you can identify maybe what's a good place to start. And it's a process. It might evolve. And you might go through 3 or 4 ideas and try them all out. And then there's maybe only one of them that you're actually wanting to stick with. Don't judge yourself for that. There is a process you have to go through. There's a level of intuition you're going to have to tap into, and a feeling of what's right for me, what's right for the balance of lifetime that I can dedicate to this. And it doesn't have to be something you're committing your life to. It's just something enjoyable where you're making an impact and you get to see that impact and feel all of the rewarding, amazing feelings that come with that. Quite selfish, which is perfectly fine. And what I like to start with is, while you're picking a passion project, one of the most important things you should understand is this: you are going to want to have a flow of energy, a source of energy that's going to drive this, because it's going to take effort and it's not going to always be easy to find time for it. But in order for you to succeed, you have to have some kind of well of energy in you that you can tap into, that's going to allow you to energize you, inspire you, excite you to actually do the steps to complete the process. So what does that look like? I literally mean, like, think of like you're digging into a well, you're digging into a stream. There's got to be that energy source that you can use, because when you're tired, when you're not motivated, there's got to be something that's driving you. And I'm going to talk about the different sources that might be for most people. You can't pick something you're like half interested in. You're like, well, I guess that's okay. I'll make that my passion project. You're just not, you're setting yourself up for failure. So the first place that I tell people to look is, what excites you right now? There might be something that's interesting to you right now. It might be like, you really like penguins, you really like sloths, you really are like excited about gardening, and you want to teach other people how to garden, how to, raise their own fruits and vegetables and bring that to their tables. Maybe you really want to educate people about the farming systems in your surrounding area. Or maybe you're really enthusiastic about helping animals that are in oil spills or in devastating natural disasters or whatever it might be. Or maybe there's a particular community in some other country that you really are near and dear to your heart, and you really want to help support them and serve them. There might be something already that you're like, I'm really interested in that. And that's perfect. So that might be a source for you to start to write down some ideas. You don't have to always know exactly what your cause is going to look like, or what it's a service you're offering in the beginning, or what you're trying to create. It might just be, I like sloths and penguins, and that's it. And you're like, okay, well, and then slowly you can evolve that into an idea of like, are you raising money for them? Are you trying to create a habitat? Are you trying to support the ones at the zoo? Like, you can start to niche down and go, okay, so I've started here. Now, what do I want to do for this thing that I like, and how do I want to serve them? So that's one place. So in anything that you're interested in right now, the next topic is going to be, what is something painful to you? Because so you can see how, if you're in for the first one, you're interested in it, there's an energy source there of interest and excitement, enthusiasm. So you can tap into that energy, and that's going to drive you. Now, the second place you can derive energy is from something that causes you pain, something that causes you misery and anger and frustration. And you're like, I hate this. This makes me so angry. That energy is so beautiful, because some people go, oh my gosh, that's terrible. But it's really not. It's actually this pure energy that you can use to fuel you. You have to have a drive. You have to have something deep inside of you that's racing through your veins. That's like, I want to get up early maybe and do this before work. I really want to spend the extra time, even though I'm tired, on this part of the website, because this whole thing just makes me so upset, and I want to make a difference. I want to make it better. I want to fix it. I want to change it. I want to do something to it. So if there's something where it's just like, maybe it's like an environmental issue, or maybe it's the animals, maybe it's the plants, maybe you're like, it makes me so angry that people pay the prices they pay in grocery stores for the fruits and veggies they get, and that maybe this school region doesn't get any fresh fruits and veggies. That makes me so angry. And so that drives you and inspires you to be like, well, how can I help? How can I find a solution to this? How can I make a difference? How can I maybe bring a farm group into this that's going to provide this school with fresh fruits and veggies? And maybe it's like the less pretty ones, but like they're willing to donate, or maybe for a very low cost, give the school like their funny looking tomatoes, like still good, not bad, but like just funny looking. Like these are things where there's like food that maybe gets thrown away and wasted, or maybe grocery stores nearby would throw this food away, and it's actually still really good. It's just like they can't sell it anymore, but maybe it's still healthy, and the kids in this one region might benefit from. This is a very specific example, but you know where I'm going with this. Like, when there's something that's like angering you, where you're like, I can't stand that this is happening to these kids. I can't stand that maybe there's something happening to an animal in your region or some other region, and you're like, this abuse is just, it makes me so upset, so I want to dedicate some time and energy to saving as many of those as I can, or finding them homes, or to be able to connect them with the services and support and care they need. Whatever it is, if you hate something, if something just, like, you know it, like if you sit there and think about it, there are things that bug the hell out of you, and you're just like, oh, I can't stand when someone does it. I can't stand when, someone's getting like I hear about abuse in relationships. I can't stand when there's people out there who are who don't know how to use their phone. Like, it doesn't have to be like something where it's a fundraising event for animals and plants or an environment. It could be like technology, or just like, everyone should know how to do this. So you're so driven, you're like, it bothers me that there's actually people out there who don't know how to send an email. I don't know, whatever you get angry about, like that thing that's just bugs the crap out of you, that could inspire anything from a cause, a movement, to like, maybe you actually like innovate and you create something. Maybe you create a product that's going to like fix this problem, and maybe it does turn into a company, maybe it doesn't, who cares, like, but maybe it inspires you to fix, because you're just like, what is wrong that bothers me, and then how can I fix it? How can I make it better? How can I make people's lives better? How can I make animals' lives better? How can I make the world a better place for tomorrow, for your kids, for you, for your family, for your nieces and nephews, like whoever? There's people out there you care about besides yourself. Now, it doesn't have to be for everyone else, but the more people you see your vision changing the lives of, the more energy you will derive from that and tap into. And one of the best sources of that is what makes you angry. And I love seeing people evolve their anger into passion, because it's just one step away. And it sucks to see people who are angry. I mean, that's one of the reasons that I was inspired to start this series, Inspired After Hours. There's many reasons, but one of them is it bothers the crap out of me when I see people angry, who are just angry. It doesn't, not that like it's going to fix something, make it better. Like, they're just pissed off or upset or hurt, and they leave it there. They leave that amazing energy on the table and walk away. They just like drain themselves with the anger and frustration, like the spite of like, damn all of this, and this sucks, and this is stupid. But then they just throw away that energy. They don't turn it and transform it into something else that's so much more meaningful and impactful, and the capacity is there. Every time you see anger, there is the potential for that to transform into passion and something incredible and amazing. Because even if it's an argument with a coworker, it's something that bothers you about the way someone does something at work, that might inspire you to create a training program for corporate environments for how to improve communication, for how to convert the team dynamic to something that is better. Like, if you don't like how something works, how can you change it and make it better, instead of going, well, that's just stupid, I hate it, and blah 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 blah, and this sucks. If you don't like the way your local government works, maybe you want to run for it, or maybe you want to be involved with some of the meetings where you can actually vote or make a difference, or be a part of the conversation, where you're like, I want this different thing in the park, but you people keep putting bullcrap there. Like, why? What does it take to put something like educational and fun and like safe in the park? Like, do something with the anger. If you don't like the way your school is doing something, is there a way for you to create a movement for you to support other parents who are dealing with the same thing? If you're angry about something, you have one of the best gifts in the world. You have energy that can become an incredible passion. Now, there's anger. So we talked about, there's what are you interested in? What makes you angry? Now, one of the things that's really fun that I love to do is to have people start to think about, what did they enjoy when they were younger? because this can be an incredible, unique source of a passion. There's usually always something in the history of your life where you look back on and that you were really fond of it, or you were really passionate about it. Like when I was younger, I still do. I love wolves. And so when I was younger, I was like so passionate about saving the wolves, and like any cause I wanted to support that was going to help create a sanctuary for wolves, or like anything like that. I was always really excited about. I wanted to help support the care and the growth and expansion of the wolf populations. And to that day, there's a part of me that's really inspired by that. And so, and I still have that in me, that energy source. So it's like, can you tap into that energy of the child version of you? What was it that you really were inspired and excited by? Like, did you have a cause when you were younger, or something that maybe it wasn't that bothered you, or maybe it was something that you like, you just, little kids do this, there's lots of stuff that kids get interested in, but you forget about it as you grow up and be mature and then become an adult and go to your job and do all the things, or school. And you kind of like let all of those little passions go that meant so much to you. And if you can't remember, you can always ask some friends and family. They love that kind of stuff. They'll tell you like, oh my God, you just would not shut up about raccoons. That was what you were obsessed with. And I'm not saying you have to go back, and your changes and likes and dislikes probably have evolved and changed a lot over time. But it's not uncommon that there's one or two things back there from your earlier years that you probably still have a flame for in your heart, that if you let yourself remember and reminisce and ask around, you'd realize and rediscover that there was actually some pretty cool stuff that you cared and you had so much energy for. And you probably have a part of you that still is inspired and energized by that topic to this day. Now, so we've talked about 3 ways so far. The first way is you might have something you're excited about right now. The second way is you're angry about something or it bothers you. Third way is tapping into that childlike wonder of, what did I get inspired by? And this is a working list. You might cross things out as you go. You might start to go, okay, well, here's one idea I am interested in. I'm actually not that interested in anymore. Or it's these other ones are far more interesting to me. And so I'm gonna go with one of those other ideas. And so I'm just gonna delete the last, but don't get rid of it. Like, as you're doing this, your ideas might change. They might evolve. You might start to like narrow in and expand on certain ones, but I still say just cross them out. So if it's a paper, with a pen, cross them out. If it's on your Word document, use a little red line feature of like, I'm going to keep this for later just in case, because you might realize, actually, I can mix both of my interests. Like maybe you're interested in plants and jewelry, and you come up with a way. Maybe you really love to play with acrylic, and you embed pretty flowers into like acrylic or whatever people use to make those kinds of things. And then you have this really beautiful like flower that becomes a piece of your jewelry. Like, there's so many ways that you can put multiple ideas together in one thing, and then be able to in ways you may not even fathom right now. But if you have the list in front of you, you can slowly start to see what's inspiring me, what's catching my eye, what do I have the energy for, and what exactly is it that's like, what can I tap into that's going to drive me? And maybe a few of these ideas are really standing out to me, so I'm going to tinker with a few different ones. Whenever you're going through these lists of things, you're looking for what lights the biggest fire for you. Like when you start to, it's like, so you say you have a list of 20 items, a list of 5 items, whatever. You go through them one by one, and you're like, how much, you might even rate it. Like maybe have a rating system of 1 to 5 or 1 to 10. And like 1 being like, I'm sort of interested. I wrote it down, so I'm kind of interested. But like 10 or 5 being like, I'm like, this drives me, this bugs me so much, or this whatever it is, it's an extreme of like, gosh, when someone starts talking about this, I can't shut up about it. But it's a very clear indication when you see that fire where you're like, I have, like, a great indication is just that. Like, if you hear people talking about this or debating it, if you can't help yourself but to chime in, if you have the opportunity to, there's a good likelihood that that could be a passion project for you. Because when you think about it, when you're fighting creating a website or fighting creating a group or a movement and like a fundraising event or whatever you're trying to do, if you're not energized by what you're doing, you will exhaust and drain yourself. Like, I like seeing people set themselves up for success. And so there's one of two things that happen if you don't have the drive. It's like either you are so dedicated to doing it just because you told yourself you do it, and then you drain yourself of energy and you're exhausted on top of everything else, or you just give up and then you just are like, I don't even care. And either of those is not, and it's okay for you to change your mind about what you want to do, but like, it's not going to get you there. And it's different than, oh, I just don't like this idea, but what's a different idea for me to try? And so if if you actually have a fire lighting you up and that you've tapped into that energy source, then you can just keep going and going and, stay working on it a little later, maybe wake up a little earlier, find some time at lunch to maybe just dabble in it and get some more ideas on how to make some steps forward. But it's always going to be like a healthier, much more fulfilling way if you have the fire inside of you. So that's just like a few ways that you can identify something that is deep inside of you that is that energy source for what you want to create your passion project to be. I'll have lots more videos in the future on this topic, and I'll look forward to sharing with you on how to make this really come to fruition for yourself and how you can make a huge impact and just feel so incredible as you're doing it. No matter what your life is like right now, whether you're busy, whether you're a parent, it doesn't matter. You have the capacity to do incredible things. So I'll leave it at that for now, and I hope you enjoy the next videos.